camp, I started learning how to engineer, and then that led me to engineering the Gangsta Grills mixtapes. Now, every Gangsta Grills mixtape, every last one, from '08 to I say about what, 2014, 2015? I engineered every last one of them. So from there, that opened doors to doing mixtapes for other DJs. And I was engineering, some of Willie's projects just pre-mixing, not post-mixing, before they reached the, professionals or whoever they hired to do the whole albums with the labels. But yeah, then I started recording other people and started recording sessions at the studio. So over time, I started meeting with other engineers and oh, Yo Gotti For My People. That's one record right there. That's where I met, I think it's Engineer Pass, but I got a lot of tips from his engineer during around that time. I was like early. But yeah, that opened a lot of doors and kind of like gave me a whole nother career path, a whole nother path of money, which is more consistent, honestly, than producing in certain stints. And that also led to producing the radio shows. Shade 45 Streets is watching it every Friday, as I was radio show producer for that for the same amount of years. And yeah, man, as far as, being other people's engineer, I got the privilege to be Young Jeezy's engineer for about a year and some change. And that came about, actually, it was crazy because I was engineering Nipsey's, we was doing the Crenshaw sessions in Atlanta. And it was one day. Now, mind you, I ain't know shit about the record being done that I did. I hadn't heard it before, nothing. So it was one morning, I hit Nip up like, yo, what time you coming to the studio? He says, I'm not going to the studio today. I'm going to your video shoot, the song you did, Ross. I'm like, where? It's kind of surprised me. It's kind of a chin scratcher. So fast forward, figured out it's the song. Still hadn't heard it. And he told me to pull up to the video shoot. So I go to the video shoot, not knowing people, not knowing nobody, just going off of a whim, and I went with one of my homeboys. So we get to the gate, bro, and I bullshit you not, the security guard, like, yo, y'all can't come up in here, it's private event, X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada. So as I'm leaving out, it's an A&R that I know. That was A&R at Def Jam. His name was Young Sav. Shout out to Young Sav. So he said, yo, V, come back, man. And then he put his arm around security guy. Like, yo, you know this to get, if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have a job today. So got in there. It was kind of dope, but got in there. I'm hearing the song as I'm walking up. And I walk in on, I don't know if y'all seen the video, I walked in on RKelly's part when he's sitting on the steps and the girl is behind him. So I walk in there and then I'm watching the whole shit unfold. I'm kind of in awe, because at the same time it's like my record, and I'm absorbing everything that's going on. It's like my first inkling on all of it. It's not like, yo, you heard this before and I heard this snippet and I played it. No, everything's hit me at one time. So it was kind of like a boom, I'm like, damn, this is crazy. So I stayed a long time now. While I'm there, side note, I had been recording Jeezy at our studio, just, on a couple of just call-in sessions. It wasn't nothing too, consistent to be here and there, But apparently he took a liking to how we work. So fast forward, let's go back to the video shoot. So I'm at the shoot or whatever, it's about to end. Jeezy, this is when Jeezy and Ross, they just kind of got back, cool or whatever. Jeezy pull up to the video shoot. It's about 2 a.m. I'm like, all right, I'm about to bounce. I'm about to leave. those mad people. It was Ross, Jeezy, a couple other people. They in the circle talking. So I'm about to leave. He say, V, I need you. And then, you know what I'm saying? Pulled me over there. Got to talking. He said he wanted to be his engineer. He told me to hit his assistant, let her know, whatever I need to let her know as far as X, Y, and Z. And I was working the next day. Like literally the next day, got called into work. And it was different for me because this is when I officially learned about the business side of the music industry. Not necessarily like points and royalties and all the extra words they throw at everybody, and it's just kind of like gotta grab your piece of the knowledge. I'm talking about payroll, direct deposit, invoices, what do you call them? Split sheets. Split sheets. And this is just on the engineering side of things. So when I started working with him, now mind you, I had no clue on any of that. I was hustling, in the DJ drama situation. It was more so of a hustle than kind of like something set up for me to win, if that makes sense. So, and working with him, we had like 19-hour sessions and 37-hour sessions and 22-hour sessions, and we would be working and he would have to go do a concert somewhere and just to do a verse on the stage, like Love in the Club verse. And then we go back to work. He works very, very hard and he delves this and he dives face first in what he needs to do. And watching that and being around that type of energy and even that type of success, and to see that, man, like I seen this man buy a Lamborghini while we working, and he delivers, the Lamborghini get delivered to the studio, type shit. So it was a lot that I was able to absorb, that I was able to take away from that whole situation, and it was an eye opener because, like I said, I hadn't experienced anything like that, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So your friendship with Nipsey, how did y'all develop a friendship and get to record some of those records and develop just become real close?
All right, yeah. With Nipsey, man, I actually met him early on when we was doing the second album before it got done. It was a record that never came out called No Favors. It was J-Rock, Nipsey Hussle, and June Summers did the hook, and I produced it. So I met Nip early. He came to Atlanta early, 08. He was wearing Slow Bucks hoodies and shit like that. When the Slow Bucks hoodies was, I got a picture still too. But that was the first time I met him. It was when Hustle in the House was kind of dying down. So I don't know what situation he was in as far as his music, shit, and even his personal life, but that's when I first met him. Fast forward to Crenshaw. Crenshaw was the Gangsta Grills, and he spent 2 weeks in Atlanta, or we recorded rather for about 2 weeks, and every day we was in the studio, top to bottom, and during those times you can't help but to get close and develop, if your energies rock with each other, and that was the thing. Bro had a cool spirit, man, and he was just really stand up about what his vision was and what his goals was. And at the end of the day, man, when you sharing art and when you're doing art, man, it kind of becomes you kind of become kindred spirits. If you just imagine if, you got a project with someone and y'all painting a mural, and every day y'all come in and, you bring different energies for whatever you bring outside to the studio. You might you're going to be around these people like 8 to 10 hours every day. And you might have a story just like, man, fuck, like, man, what's wrong? Do. And then you're going to have to bust down the story. And then you open up a little bit more every day. You open up a little bit more every day with this person, and you gain some sort of trust. And if you fuck with them, you can't help but really to, kind of deflame, if that makes sense. It's like, how can I put it? Anyway, our relationship, bro, was really dope because we was able to really just bust down and like be ourselves, and all the camera shit away, ain't nobody on camera. Everybody was able to be open. Coming with sweatpants and just regular shit, braids all messed up, just talking, smoking weed, busting down, and being able to be that and come out with a beautiful project. And that grew a lot of the relationship, bro. Just being around each other daily like that.